Hey you guys, it's me Kiana coming at you today, and if you have not seen my video titled "Okay, My Marriage," I will only discuss this once, so here it is. If you have not seen that video, I'm going to link it below because that's going to basically catch you up to where we're at. So I wanted to do this video because um, that video spoke to my spirit. It was not just for you guys. It was something that I needed to hear myself. And whenever you let your spirit pour out whatever's being filled in by God, whenever that happens, you guys, and you let it flow, you don't even technically know all that you're saying. Some moments you are in the flesh, of course, and but it transcends. It goes beyond that. It's at a point where you can see it shift. And whenever you just allow it to flow, when you go back and look at things and listen to it, you're able to digest and get something from it, even though it came from your mouth. And that video spoke to me, you guys. It spoke to me. It was for me as well as it was for many of you. And I wanted to talk about that, add to that video. And so this is like a part two to that video. And as I already told you guys in that video, my marriage isn't perfect. I don't discuss my marriage anymore on here. I don't discuss the down moments, the moments where, sometimes I just get tired and I'm like, I want to throw in a towel. Um, yeah, I don't want to tolerate this. I don't want to tolerate that. I don't think I should have to deal with this. I don't want to deal with that. Those moments I don't discuss anymore. I used to. It was at a time I did. But my season has ended for that. Because whenever things are not received in the way that it's intended, um, you no longer have to uh, you no longer have to do or endure that. Um, it may be your time to move on to something else and to help in another way. And that's what I've done. Um, and when I share these things, again, I'm not speaking just to you. I'm not even speaking from someone who has perfected anything. I'm just speaking from what I have learned thus far. I'm speaking from what I have had to endure, what I may be enduring now. I'm speaking to you in hopes that as women we can get together and not always just be about cattiness and trying to tear another sister down, but for us to get together and try to encourage each other, try to figure some things out, try to heal from some things, trying to grow from some things. I think that that's what we are as women and as a sisterhood. We are supposed to do, whether we do it or not. I think that that is what is intended. And that is what we should be doing. And I think that when we do that, we are walking in our favor and our destiny and our blessings. Um, so I wanted to talk about at times in a relationship, you guys, even though we have to figure out why we've made certain decisions, why we may feel a certain kind of way, why we may be feeling like we're not being fed emotionally. Um, Maybe we're carrying some kind of hurt from the past. Maybe we even have valid reasons to be hurt with the current person we're with. Um, but regardless of all of those things, even though I said that we need to evaluate what we contributed to that, and is it something that we are putting on others to fix inside of us, the root, the core of us? Are we looking for that person, our significant other, to fill that or to fix that? That of which that is unfixable by him or by man, any man for that matter. Um, and therefore you're constantly, it's like a hamster at a wheel. It's constantly in a race because it's a race that never is ending, and it's a race that never can be won by him. You understand what I'm saying? So although we need to do all that, we also need to come to the place where we don't just tolerate any and everything. Now, what I was talking about before is a common ground, a common mindset, a togetherness, a holy union. If you remember me throwing around those words, I threw around those words for a reason. And I'm going to use I'm going to use several different analogies, okay? So please bear with me and follow me. If you're constantly filling up a 2 liter, if you are constantly filling up a 2 liter, and he's constantly only filling up 8 ounces, then you're not going to be on common ground. That is times where you are valid in your feelings. That are times where, even though you've done all that you can do in the physical sense and in the earthly sense, in the flesh, you've done all that you can do in those areas. But still, it's still not a common mindset. There's not a common goal, okay? Because you're constantly pouring in. And that person, significant other, doesn't have to be a female or a male. I'm just talking in general. The other person in the relationship. They're constantly not filling up the tank. But you're filling up the tank to the point where it's overflowing. You can't overcompensate by overflowing your cup or the relationship cup. You can't overcompensate by you filling up the relationship cup to the point it's overflowing because they're not giving nothing but 8 ounces. Are you understanding what I'm saying? So when that is the case, no matter how much you self-evaluate, no matter how much you try to work on yourself, try to do better, try to be better in the relationship, no matter how many times you do that, sometimes you can't lead a horse to water and expect them to drink all the time. It just doesn't work all the time. I'm going to use my relationship as an example. It's been times where I just wanted to throw in the towel with Chuck. Why? Because I felt like I was giving of myself emotionally way more than he gave. And even though I'm working on me and was working on me and still is currently, even though I've been doing that, I felt as though maybe he need to do that as well. Just like you can hear me say those things to others and even say them to you about myself, how dare you think that you don't have to do that as well? How dare you? And sometimes when we see that we've done that, and when we come to the conclusion it hits us, and it hits us hard when it do hit us. When we say, wait a minute, what the? I've been pouring in all this, and he still ain't gonna pour in nothing but 8 ounces, and I'm up here giving a 2 liter. When that hits us, sometimes bitterness comes. Sometimes anger comes. Yeah, we'll smile. hmm We'll do all that, but in the back of our mind, we giving them the side eye because we're thinking to ourselves, "I'm smiling, but I'm still remembering that you still only poured in 8 ounces, and I'm still constantly giving a 2 liter." Do you understand what I'm saying? You follow me, you guys? So even though we need to self-evaluate ourselves, even though we need to seek God to heal any brokenness that we have inside of us, I'm not saying to you, nor will I ever say to you, that you should tolerate getting 8 ounces. You shouldn't. Because at that point, you are not on common ground. You don't have a common mindset, and you're avoiding what is inevitable. Now, God has the ability to change all people, but we also have free mind. And if you're with your significant other, and they don't want to be changed, they don't want to be healed, they don't want to progress, whether that's in a relationship or whatever, if they don't want that, and their desire is not to have that, you're not going to be on common ground. And that's why I said you're avoiding what is inevitable. I know this firsthand. I don't talk about stuff I don't know about. I know this with my previous marriage. If I gave 110%, threw in that 10% to try to overcompensate for what he lacked. Do you understand what I'm saying? And he only gave 60%. If he didn't want to go further than 60, it's nothing that I, his wife, Kiana, could do to make him want to do that. If he didn't have the desire to do that. Now, let's use the example of, say if you're at a certain place spiritually, and he's at a certain place spiritually. You're here, and he's here. Pray for him. Yes. And the Bible says that we are to pray for our husbands. I just can't. I'm just being honest with you right now. Now, you don't have to do this. Not everything I say you do anyway, right? Because we're all adults. We all have free will. We all have free minds. We're all adults with rational minds, with our own families and things like that. I'm just expressing what I can't do. Now, I personally, I will pray for you and endure as long as I can. As long as I can. If it's worthwhile. If it's something that I know that I should be. If it's a place where I should be. And I feel it in my spirit I should be there. I won't move. But if I see that you, years later, are still here, and I'm here, and I know you're supposed to be the head, and I know that you're supposed to be the leader, and I know that you're supposed to be covering me, I can't endure it with so long. I just can't. I can't. Now, I know that that goes against what God teaches us to do in a marriage. I understand that. Just like a lot of things you do go against what God says that we should do. We all are sinners. We all have sinned. I'm just telling you what I, Kiana, at this stage in my life, I can't deal with. Now, in my previous marriage, I was younger. I got married young, you guys. I'm going to be honest. It's some things that I dealt with a little longer because of my youth, because of not experiencing certain things, because of not experiencing certain pains, I'm going to be honest. Um, because of those things, I would say that I endured longer certain things in the marriage that I would not endure now. Or you understand what I'm saying? Sometimes with age and with experience and then been there and done some things. Sometimes what comes with that is a lower tolerance. Sometimes what comes along with that is knowing yourself and what actually makes you happy. Because see, in our early 20s and things like that, we know ourselves. We know, but we don't know. You understand what I'm saying? We, you know, certain things haven't shaped us. You know, certain experiences haven't fully shaped us. For the bad and for the good. So sometimes you'll tolerate a little bit more because you've never experienced it, because you may be green to it, because certain things don't bother you as much, because you don't know maybe what fully makes you happy, because you don't know your tolerance level. Certain things back then I would tolerate that I just simply won't now. Um, and I'm saying all this to say, even through self-evaluation, you have to self-evaluate the relationship too. Because if you are one that is constantly trying to fix something, but the other party, and in my case, or in your case, if you're a woman, the head is not self-evaluating, you can't carry the both of you. You're not even made to do that. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what you're doing is avoiding the inevitable. I can think back on my relationship, my previous marriage, so many times, and we never broke up as far as like filing for separation or uh, living in separate homes, and we never did that. But I can remember so many times we would say we think we're just going to go ahead and get a divorce. Still, we would still be together because it would only last like 2 days. We would say that. But I can remember so many times of doing that. And now looking back, all I did was waste time, avoid the inevitable. Because the basis of the relationship, the not so much as the foundation, but the mindset of both parties, we wasn't on common ground. Biblically, we wasn't equally yoked. And you spiritual sisters understand what I'm saying when I say that. So we wasn't on common ground. And because one person wanted to fix that and the other didn't see anything that needed to be fixed, the inevitable was being avoided by constantly trying to fix it. Do you understand what I'm saying? All you're doing is, okay, say you try to fix it for 3, 4, 5 years, and then the 6th and 7th year you're divorced. All those years of trying to fix it, when it was clear that only one party was putting in work, only one party was doing the filling up of the 2 liter, and the other party was just given 8 ounces for years. Do you understand what I'm saying? All you was doing was avoiding the inevitable. You still winded up at the same destination. Only difference is you tolerated a whole bunch of stuff for a lot of years before you got there. Now, I'm not saying right off the bat in the marriage, oh, I don't like this, so yeah, you got to go. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. What I'm talking about right now in this video is when you're on uncommon grounds and seeing and evaluating if the other person is willing to get on common grounds. If they are not, and I'm not talking about through their mouth, because how many people will actually sit and say, oh, I'm not trying to improve myself? Not many people gonna say that. What they'll say is, oh, I feel you, baby, you right, you right, we're gonna make this work. But if their actions after it being proven over and over in time is proven that they are not even making that a priority, you need to watch that. Your tolerance level or tolerance distance may be different from mine. You may last 4 years. I may last 2. That may be my tolerance level. I may can't go no further than that. I can't give you no more grading you on a curve than 2 years maybe. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just using it as an example, but I'm just it's a really good example. So even though I stress that we need to evaluate ourselves, and I do think we need to do that, because what you're going to be doing is reliving a vicious cycle. You're going to get with the next person, and you're going to eventually fall right back into the same cycle. So we have to get to the core of the issue, regardless whether it's a man in your life or whether it's no man in your life, whether it's a man in your life 10 years from now or 2 years from now. You still need to get to the issue, the core of it, the core of that pain. You need to get to the issue of it. You need to get it to the root of it. But you also need to watch and keep your eyes open and your ears open that the other person you're with is on common ground. And if they're willing to get there. If they're not, you'll know. So on that note, you guys, I love you all so much. Talk to you guys later. I got to answer this phone call. And yeah, be blessed.